What's up everyone, welcome back to my channel for another video. Today's video is going to be about how I got a 815 credit score at the age of 21. So I was relatively young when I achieved that. It's not really that big of a deal, but I always wanted to do that when I was a kid. I thought it was cool, or not when I was a kid, but when I learned what credit was and what a credit score was. Yeah, so before I get into this video, if you're new here, please subscribe, like, comment, turn on post notifications so you can be notified when I drop a new video. I'm trying to upload more consistently. I've been saying that for years, never do it, but hopefully I'll get back on track and start doing that. But yeah, let's get back into the video. So I'm just gonna start off with a little bit of background about how I even got my first credit card. I don't remember when this was, but it was a while ago. I was in college. I knew I wanted to start building credit early and young, so I walked into Wells Fargo. Had no idea what I was doing, walked in by myself. I just knew I wanted to get a credit card. So I walked in and just picked up the closest or first pamphlet I saw. Saw it was for a credit card, didn't even know what credit card it was, just filled it out. And I turned it in. This was when it was physical. I don't know if they still do that. Probably not, but at this time you could apply for credit cards physically by just filling out the paper or whatever. And I turned it in and I was approved in a couple weeks, I think. And so I got mailed my first credit card. Honestly, it was an awful credit card. It had almost no rewards. I don't even remember what it was called. It was some random card from Wells Fargo. I did absolutely no research. I just got some random one and I ended up getting it, and yeah, I mean, that's pretty much how it went. I just walked in and applied. And as for how I got it to 815, well, to be honest, this part is probably just as easy. So I'm just going to talk about a couple of things that make up your credit score, and if you wanted to achieve a good credit score, how you would also go about doing that. So I'm using the Advantage 3.0 system. There's different systems. I'm not going to go through all of them. I'm just going to Advantage 3.0. They're all basically the same. They're all make up the same factors make up your score. So these things are your payment history, your credit usage, your total balances, your credit checks, available credit. So for Advantage 3.0 system, 40% of your score is made up of your payment history. So this is why it's extremely important to always pay your card on time. You don't want to have late payments. You don't want to miss payments. You can set it up automatically if you think you're going to forget or something like that. But you always want to pay your card on time. That's the main factor. And that's how I was able to get 815, because I've never to this day ever missed a payment. I just don't. I always remember. But if you're one of those people that don't remember, you can just automate it. So what they'll do is they'll just take the amount. You do the minimum or the full. It's probably better to do the full. They'll take it from your bank account and pay off the credit card automatically on a date that you set. So yeah, again, payment history is the single most important factor contributing to your credit score. You don't want to miss payments. 21% is going to be your credit history. So this is going to be the types of accounts you have and how long you've had them. So if you only had credit for 5 months, your score is probably not going to be as high or established as someone who's had it for a year, 2 or 3, or a little bit longer, if all variables are the same. So generally, the longer you have credit, the better it looks. Also, what types of accounts you have. So do you have one credit card? Do you have multiple credit cards? Do you have student loan or a car or a house, or different forms of credit lines? So that typically looks good. But honestly, when I got the score of 815, I only had one credit card, one credit line. I had nothing else. So you don't need all that extra stuff, to be honest. Credit usage. So this is your credit utilization rate. So this is a really big important fact that a lot of people don't know, is you don't want to use all your credit. So if you get $1,000 on your credit card, I think mine was $1,000 or something like that, you don't want to use all of that. You only want to use 30% or less. So for $1,000, that would be 300 or less. You don't want to use 800, 900, or 1,000. If you max it out, that's not good. It looks bad on your credit. Now, I know it's kind of weird that they give you a credit card and tell you, hey, only use a certain amount, but that's kind of how it is. So you definitely want to use 30% or less. So again, if you have $1,000 available on your credit, only use 300 or less. If you have, 10,000, then it's 3,000 or less or whatever. So yeah, keep that under 30%. It's called a credit utilization rate. Your total balances, so that makes up 11%. And yeah, total balances is how much of a balance do you have on your credit cards. To be honest, you don't really want to have a balance. You want to pay it off every month in full. So ideally, you'd have no balance. If you have to have a balance, you want to keep it as low and as small as possible. Especially, well, you don't want it to affect your credit score, but you also just don't want to pay interest, because interest on credit cards is very, very high. This is why I always tell people you want to use your credit card as an extension of your debit card. You don't want to use your credit card to buy things that you can't afford or money that you don't have in your account. You always, always, always want to use it just like a debit card. So, gas. Everybody needs to buy gas. Use your credit card. Groceries or food. Everybody has to buy those things. Use your credit card. Don't use your credit card to go on a shopping spree to Gucci when you can't afford that. Like, that's how people get into credit card debt, and just a recipe for disaster. 5% is your credit checks. So credit checks are like your hard inquiries. Basically, every time you apply for like a new credit card or you apply for like a loan, they're going to do a hard inquiry, so they're going to check your credit, and that hurts your credit score a little bit. Not too much, but a little bit. Excuse me. The only thing is you don't want to do that too often. You don't want to have like 10 in a single year. But generally, when you're getting hard inquiries, you typically need, the credit line or the loan or whatever for the thing that you're applying for. So I wouldn't really worry about this much. I wouldn't worry about this too much. It also only makes up, like I said, 5%. I get quite a good amount just because I'm constantly applying for new credit cards. But most people probably don't really have to worry about this too much. But yeah. And then lastly, 3% is your available credit. So this kind of goes back to your credit utilization or credit usage. How much available credit do you have? Generally, the more you have, the better. But again, this is only 3%, not really that much of a big deal. The biggest things, always pay your card on time. Don't close your accounts, so keep your credit card open. So your credit history, strengthens and lengthens. Your credit usage, keep that under 30%. And don't keep a balance. Always pay your card on time right away, or before your statement ends, so you're not having to pay interest and stuff like that. And yeah, don't get too many credit checks. Again, shouldn't be a problem for most people, but if you do like to apply for credit cards, or you do like to apply for a bunch of loans for whatever reason, just make sure you're not doing it too often, so it doesn't hurt your credit score. So yeah, again, that's how I got an 815 credit score. I walked into Wells Fargo, applied on a pamphlet, got approved. It was a terrible credit card, but it was all I needed at the time. Every single month I would pay it, never forgot. And I also didn't spend too much on it, so I'd only put like a little bit, a couple hundred, whatever, books for college or whatever I absolutely needed, paid it off, and my score continued to rise and rise and rise. And it only took me, not that long. Really not that long. My score rose immediately. So if you're new to the credit game, or you're trying to build your credit, it's pretty much as simple as that, especially if you have no credit and you're trying to apply and you need a credit card. It's really easy because you're going from no credit, and so if you just pay it on time, your score will go really high really quickly. So yeah, it's just a little bit about how I did it. Hopefully this video was informational and helpful. If you think so, please leave a comment below. Please hit that like button, subscribe, turn on post notifications so you can be notified when I post a new video. Yeah, hopefully I will see you in the next video.